shareholders developments generally in terms of the budget process?
Well, that one is, I think we are still in the same stage one, which is the tabling for the stage one, because when the budget, in fact, is tabled, for the first time it is rendered to be the first reading stage. Now, after the first reading stage, which has been already addressed by the minister concerned, that is the Minister of Finance and Economic Planning, now the Right Honorable Speaker Jema Nono Kumba committed it to specific committees as to scrutinize and find out what are the items to be discussed for the year. And then definitely that went on now for almost 3 months, and we are going almost to 3 months and 3 weeks, and then now we have reached already the final stage, whereby next Monday the budget will be tabled for the second reading stage.
All right.
So stage one has already been completed.
Now, we so far understood, as reported, there was, of course, public hearing before passing the budget, this fiscal year budget. So, can you make any justification behind this public hearing?
Yeah, in fact, for the mini budget that we have passed, this kind of public hearing was not been a usual custom. But this year we decided to involve our people because, budget seemed to bear very little fruits after it has been passed from the national legislature. So we decided this time that the public hearing should be a vital process that we have to make. So after we have done the scrutiny at the committee's level, we table it to the cluster. We table it at the cluster level. It went to, now we finished with the 5 cluster. We went to the Committee of Finance and Economic Planning, which has filed it up. And then before we submit it to the cluster, the final cluster, that is the Committee of Finance, we call the public hearing. The meaning for that public hearing is as follows. 1, the budget, which is supposed to be rendered every year, should address certain priorities of which the nation has to be aware about, because this is the government money, and we call it the government money. Before it becomes a government money, the money is for the people, and the people of South Sudan own the budget. So we thought it wise that first they should have the saying. That is why the primary reason why they should have come and discuss with us. That was one. The second one is that the budget should address certain topic, so that at the end of the year, people will not come up and say, oh, last year we did not know that what was happening. They should know that this budget is for peace. They should know that this budget is also for stabilizing the economy, and then the development in some extent. And also it must address the life situation of our people. It must improve the life situation of working forces. That is the civil servant and organized forces, including the army. They should actually see that the budget is addressed to them. And their life, basically those who have the contract, the social contract with the government, are supposed to receive their sustainable livelihood through the budget. So in fact, we thought that it is our joint responsibility as also the grassroots and the people tasked to scrutinize, so that our voices is united to be one. So the purpose of having the public hearing is to give the feedback to our people that we are doing your business, and therefore we need to listen to you. And for that, there were issues which has come up, which later on in the program I will analyze them.
Yes.
Definitely one of the vital thing is that this budget seems to be, people are crying here and there that the budget is not enough. And this is the layman position. When you complain that the budget is not enough, you should have known your resource envelope. Because every budget that is passed in the year, it should contain the resources that exist in the resource envelope. So that in the resource envelope, you will make the priorities of the priorities. And this is, people definitely they don't understand this, and I need to explain it. The priorities of the priorities are that you have so many priorities that you need to address in the budget, but you cannot address everything at one budget. So what you do is that You pick from the priorities that you have, the priorities of the government. You will also pick some priorities which are very essential. Like for this year, question of going from this year and up to next year, the question of going to election is priority, and it is the government priority, it is the people priority, it is everybody priority. So definitely we need to work in the budget that calls for the priorities of the priorities. And for that matter, we said that our first priority is that we should consolidate, seeing that peace prevail, that and it should not prevail without money. You need to fund, of course, the agreement, and what the agreement called for, all especially the bill that you have been questioning us about, like security bill, like what other bills, they have to be scrutinized through this budget, and after scrutinizing them, especially the bill of the election bill, need to be reviewed and then again passed. All those priorities need to be addressed. If it need to be addressed in this budget. Plus, you need to stabilize your economy. How do you stabilize the economy? Of course, this is a subject that we may have a time to discuss.
No problem.
But definitely, these are the priorities that we should actually handle in this time, and our people.
So I want to question you as well on. This is not the first time I'm asking you this, but I'm coupling it to another one.
Yes, please.
I mean, how does the August House, of course, the National Parliament, ensure the transparency and also the accountability of the budgeting process? With the recently conducted public hearing. Yeah, I want actually to add on to this, because we were meant to understand that the budget generally is actually made by the executive, and there were already concerns that concerns raised during the public hearing may still not be reflected in the budget. They will not necessarily see the budget they would want to see, despite giving their own opinions to the budget.
Well, let me be very critically clear here. You know, the budget, every year budget, you should receive the first quarterly report, the second, the third, and the fourth, so that you can say, okay, now if this, you will read that the budget of last year has addressed these issues, and these issues, some of them were not completed, so you need to address them in the next budget. Then now, after that, you can say, okay, if the government has done all these activities, then now the government needs more money to do the ABC activities. That is how the budget should go. Now, if you fell short of the government executive, in this sense, I'm meaning the executive. Now, if the executive did not bring the first quarterly report, the second, the third, the fourth, and then now they bring the budget, what should you do? Should you reject the budget, or should to wait for the last report of the last year, or should you continue scrutinizing while asking for the last year budget? Now, for us, we are caught in the crossroad. Now, if you rejected the budget, then it means that the government need to operate with without an approved budget, which is bad, of course. But if you said, okay, I need an accountability, and so if the minister who do not bring this last year has to be dismissed, you will dismiss all the government, and the agreement will not allow you to do that. So the only thing you have to do is that you need to accept the failure, so that you can also rewind your clock and come back again in the next year, like we made the resolution this time, that next year we should not have received any budget without giving us this budget year, which will become the past budget, should have come to us in form of report, so that we can prepare ourselves for the next budget. So in fact, in a responsible government, this is something that we cannot go without. We must do it. But if you are caught up, the people did not do it, what do? You dismiss the whole government, or you keep on lamenting, and then the work is not done, or what do? For us, we say, okay, we still demand the report, because this is the government money. Whether you spend it wrongly or you spend it rightly, it is the government money. And by the way, the criminal can be even condemned after his death. And our people do not know this. Somebody who have gone wrong can be even condemned when he is already dead. The law can act on that person still, and that is why in the advanced country, when you are condemned and you are dead, then every morning they will come with the prisoner clothes and put on your address on your grave, and say that you are still a prisoner till you are free, and you are in the grave, by the way. We experience that in some countries. In our country, it should be the case. You should not let the criminal go without accountability.
But how many of them have been let, I mean, to go without accountability?
Well, you know, it is not my time really to calculate and tell you how many. But the problem is, as a responsible government, we must be conscious of those activities.
You are saying it is not your responsibility. The parliament is the overseer of the executive.
No, I did not say it is not my responsibility. I said it is not time now to count how many people went wrong and how many are right. But the simple fact remains the same. That, of course, this situation, I think it may invite you to understand that this very time, this very government is very unusual government. By the fact that some people came to the government through the agreement. And by the way, some of them are they were being accommodated. They are not qualified even. But you know, when you see somebody brought in by his own party, and he is not qualified, you complain that so and so is not performing, then somebody will say, okay, what do you want me to do? This is my man. And my party is appointing him. What do you want? So you will begin on quarreling on some people. And that is why I said, Yakwana, in our South Sudan, if we need an accountable government, we must have the technocrats in the government. Like, for example, if I'm appointed as a Minister of Finance, I should be somebody who comes from the financial background, so that when I behave, I should know financial laws. Like a special Minister of Finance must be financial or must be budget discipline. It must have the budget disciplinary. So that when you are spending the nation money, you spend them according to the laws and regulations and internal laws. So you cannot do without. But now imagine if you bring a layman who only knows arithmetic, somebody who knows to count 1, 2, and 3, and 10, and then you stop there. And now he became somebody who is now dealing with the nation building, and is dealing with the finances, which are very complicated. How do you, I'm not saying that the present Minister of Finance, we are lucky. He's a man who comes from accounting background. So we are now lucky. But the problem is that the resources, which is very much limited that we have, cannot allow him to operate the way he wants to operate. And for that matter, the priorities of the Artiguno, not the priority of the government only, the priorities of the government of the revitalized peace agreement, of the government of national unity, are always demanding. Imagine, the government is having 5 vice presidents. I repeat it here again and again, and I am now still repeating. How much do you think that we pay on weekly basis on those big people that who are always using sirens, and we are also getting debt of the siren when they gave up at the same time? You almost seem to be mad. You will even question yourself, what is happening in South Sudan? Whereby if you move to Kenya, you will only hear a siren once a month or even once a week. But with us here, everybody with a siren, everybody with a siren, everybody with a siren, even the IGP with a siren. So what do? This is the country of everybody president.
I want to ask you a very direct question. Just last week there was public hearing on the budget that is being tabled and being discussed. I mean, tell us what's going to happen with to the public opinions.
Well, you know, we are going to accommodate them, and that is why we said this budget will never be the same again with the other, like the other budget that.
So what's going to happen?
One of the things which is going to happen is that the priorities which are already addressed in this budget must be implemented without failure.
Yes, now we are talking about external opinions. Leave alone the budget itself. There were opinions of the people on how they would want the budget now to look like.
Now this
has been drafted already by the executive.
Now the problem is, when I talk of the implementation, there is no any other consent for our people besides the implementation of the budget. If you have any other one, tell me which they are. But what I know so far is that our people are saying, let us receive a meaningful salaries. If you are a responsible government, pay us. That is one priority. Another thing, they said we need clean drinking water. They say, okay, we need roads. We need the government to go for election. There are a lot of demands from our people. So the budget, what is being addressed in the budget, our people are saying that you address what we think should be addressed, not what the government think. And that will make this budget to be quite different. Because, you know, we have recorded what they have already suggested to us. You know, that simple public hearing we did last week contained all the opinion of South Sudan. Anybody who is going to undermine this kind of situation is doing it on his own or her own risk. Why?
How do you mean by
because
that?
I mean that when the people got up and speak, you should not turn down. Because you know our government get its life is spent. If we were to be elected by the people, we get our life is spent from the people. And so if the people advise us, Yakwana, you people who are representing us, you should do 1, 2, 3, we must be abiding with what they say. Because these are the same people you will go back tomorrow and say, you vote for me. Now, if they come and they'll tell you that, okay, please prepare the budget, we are going for election, and you say no. What do you expect them to do when you come to ask for votes? So, in fact, I'm saying everything that has been voiced out, unless you are very particular about it, then you tell me which particular thing you want to listen from there. But what I know so far is that we have taken our notes, and I have counted which notes they have voiced out. They said this budget must pay the army, must pay all the organized forces, must pay our civil servant. This is their demand. And suppose that that has been told to us and then we did not do it. What do you think we have done? We have committed the so-called political suicide because you refuse to listen to your people. And every responsible government should listen to people. There is no way that you can be a good government without people. You should work for the people, and you should work definitely to improve the livelihood of your people. So definitely, I don't see any other reason why should we be existing in offices that are not addressing our people's issues.
Now, before I get to the listeners at this point in time, I also would want to find out, there were concerns from some members of parliament as well on why certain revenues that is being collected or not collected by the government are not reflected in the budget. So the government only expects to obtain or to fulfill the budget through a certain channels of the revenue collection, more than the others. What's going on? Like the question of the livestock, that it is, money comes actually from the livestock, but it is not being reflected in the budget. Who uses it?
Now, let me give you a clear answer on that.
Yes.
What happened is that some of the MPs remain in the assembly and they are lay people. They don't even know how the government operates.
How do you mean by that?
What I mean is this. You know, for the government to generate money, you have to inject in a program your own money so that the program that you injected your money will also raise you the money. Like, for example, if you want to get food on the table, what do? You inject money to agriculture. And from there, when you cultivate, like, for example, if we were to make a government priority to be agriculture, we will have enough food. And so if you have enough food for people to eat, then you will sell the surplus. And from there, you get your money. The problem is, people expect the government to have money on something that they did not project money in. Like, for example, the question of oil, gold they were been talking about. I heard some of them were saying that as if they are not MPs. We did not budget for gold this year. How do you expect next year we should have the gold's money when we did not actually budget for the gold excavation? Now the problem is these people look to be very like lay people. They don't know what to do. They should ask the government to involve in putting money to the gold excavation. And after you injected money in the gold finding, this is now where you will commission the government to bring up the money that it project this thing on. Now you believe that the gold which is lying in your next hill, in your next hill, you need to have it in the morning, and you did not injected money to do it. This is ridiculous, and I believe this is the layman position, and we need to correct it.
All right.
And like, for example, NCA is one of the things that can generate next to oil. It can even bypass oil, because you know it can collect a lot of millions and millions and millions of power. But the problem is we are not injecting money to NCA so that the NCA produces money. The gateway in some countries are running the government. The whole government is run through the gateway. Because gateway pays a lot of money. Now with our gateway, which we put the minimum is the least, almost in the whole budget. How will you expect such institution to raise the big money that it raises? Like, for example, in Kenya, people are actually using the gateway to feed the government and to fund the government program. Why? Because the government has already made it a priority for NCA to get money so that it can generate more money. Now, if we could just sleep under our blanket with the small money that we have from the oil, and then we say that in the next year we will have more resource envelope, how do you do it? What miracle do you do so that you get this? So my point is, our government should invest in those enterprises so that we can get more money.
Now, thank you so much, Honorable John Agany. We have come now to 28 more minutes to top of the hour. To all our dear listeners, wherever you're getting us, I will give you a couple of chances in a short while, and then thereafter we'll get back to the guests we have here in the studio on our week in Parliament, as usual, every Friday, 4 to 5 p.m. My name is Moyo Jacob Felix, and we'll roll out for a short break, then we'll be back.
Did you know that iRadio is the most listened to and respected media brand in the country, with strong public service broadcasting values, state-of-the-art infrastructure, high-quality technical abilities, and its management is well regarded? According to an independent assessment in 2021, iRadio has progressed from being classified as a young organization to that of a mature organization today by international media standards. Thank you very much, our esteemed listener, reader, and follower, for making us your #1 radio station in the country. Please like iRadio's Facebook page, Twitter, YouTube, and subscribe as a follower. Let us keep the conversation going. You can also visit us at www.iradio.org. We are iRadio, your eye on South Sudan.
The Sundown, for the news, views, opinion, debates, and discussions. Listen to who is who talking about issues that affect our country and continent. Only on the Sundown, your eye on South Sudan.
Well, good evening to all of you once again, and let's reach out to the callers and hear out their opinions and questions on the discussion. Radio.
Alex.
Na marhab ضمن معي وتدرى من وين؟
Alex من جبل السوا.
Alex طبعا؟
أيوة من جبل السوا.
Yes. نعم.
سؤال بتاعي يكون رفض لأن في استوديو أنا أستغرب كثير لأنه أكلم كثير. أنا ما بعرف لأنه هو بيتكلم عن كلام بتاعي، إنه بيتكلم بكلام بتاع فيزو بتاع ناس. هل لأن هذا قاعدين في وضع الحالات، هو بفكر شنو عن الشاب على من قاعد يشوف. نمرة 2 يعني بتكلم في أن بتاع مشكلة بتاع
نعم.
ليش يبغى مولو؟ ليش يبغى مولو؟ المواطن جاب يكون مرتاح نتيجة ما اللي
طيب. All right. نعم. شكرا جزيلا بالمشاركتك يا أليكس من جوبا هنا راديو.
الو مرحبا.
نعم فرانكو ثابت.
انا موي.
نعم مرحبا توالي بسانداون.
نعم تهيئ لك ولا تهيئ السبوكسبرسون بتاعتنا لجون أغاني. انا اقول جون أغاني.
نعم.
السؤال بتاعي مباشر كلاكي. انا بدي اسال جون أغاني طبعا مرتبات بتاع شركتي ده ما يصرف عليه لنا. وهو البجت لسه ما انتهى. يعني المفروض اديله مرتبات بتاع شركتي عشان ما بنعمل ما بننتظر حتى ما البجت ده يعملوه. لان الناس بناء المشكله. المفروض البرلمان ده يضغط على وزاره الماليه على اساس انه قروش شركته ده يصرفوا ناس اللي ما صار فيهم مرتبات. ده واحد. سؤال ثاني الموضوع بتاع انه الناس اللي بيعملوا الفساد هو بيقول انه ما زول بتاعه. المفروض البرلمان انه هو حق بتاع اي برلمان اساسا انه اي زول عمل فساد ما يتم تعيينه في الحكومه. شكرا جزيلا.
وشكرا جزيلا فرانكو ثابت بالمشاركتك يا راديو.
Because I know over there big ladies will come in. I'm not actually trying to be gender biased here, but
radio?
The people who will try to actually make decisions.
Hello, who is with us?
Actually public suggestion.
All right, let's keep the conversation going. Reach us on 0911 or 22986 so that's how you can be able to join us on this conversation and to ask a question to the guests we have here with us in the studio. Radio?
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening. Wish with me and where are you reaching us from?
John from Sherazad.
Yes, John.
Okay, I got some few questions to Honorable John.
John, raise up your voice a little bit, okay?
I got some questions, few questions to Honorable Jonathan.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Issue of budget.
No.
Where they did a public hearing last week.
Yes.
Yeah, my first question is, is it there in the constitution of the country of South Sudan that the budget should be prepared by executive? And if it is there, why?
Okay.
And if it is not there, why did the parliamentarian accept that budget which was being prepared by the executive and it was being presented in the parliament?
Okay.
My second question is going to him concerning the same budget, that according to the calculation of the budget, that if like a soldier is getting 2,000 SSP per month as a salary, it is now increased to 10,000 SSP per salary. The question is, the current economic crisis of this country, 2,000, even him John Agany, even if they give him 50,000, it cannot sustain his life. First of all, why are they accepting it? Because I do remember, or most of the MPs, they claim that for us, the parliamentarians, we are oversee, our role is to oversee the executive, where we are not seeing this kind of role even there in parliament. They are not even speaking on our behalf. Citizens are suffering, the soldiers are suffering. Yeah? The economic crisis.
All right, John, let's hear out from him. Thank you so much for your time and for asking question on this edition of the Sundown program. We have 22 more minutes before 5 p.m. and as usual we'll have our news headlines at that time. Maybe only one more caller, then we get back to the guest. Side radio?
Side radio.
Naam.
Alfred.
Yes, Alfred.
عايز سؤال ده هو جوناثان هو بيقول المرتبات الحسة اللي بيتكلموا فيه مرتبات الجيش والعاملين في البرلمان العاملين في الحكومة المرتبات دي حاجة الآن ما قدر يجيب المرتبات ده ودخلوا العادي ينتظروا العادي زي ما انت عفاجت لكن البرلمان كان جسم مرتبات حقهم في زمن وزير هذا ما هم طلعوا بقروشهم وبيجوا ينكروا بقروشهم والشعب اوريدي بيشتغلوا بنفس الخدمه الوطنيه ده نفس الخدمه بتاع الدوله ليه السبب تقولون البرلمان بيتاخر بمرتبات بتاع الجيش والموظفين السبب ده شنو عندنا في تاخير اكر في كونسل المينيسترز اكر في البرلمان لفتره طويله ولحد ما ينتهي بجت بتاع 2023 2024 ده ليه السبب ده شنو؟
نعم.
سؤال نمرة واحد. نمرة اثنين هو بيقول القروش الفوارق بتاع القروش لازم يكون بيدخلوا في مشاريع. المشاريع هتو فيهم يعني النهار بترول شغال، بترول بتاع الدولة بتاعنا شغال وفي نسبة بتاع الجنوب وبيجي كل ما في آية بترول. القروش ده بيمشي وين؟ ده سؤال.
نعم شكرا جزيلا ألفريد بالمشاركتك توالي هنا في أسأل الموضوع بالذات توالي نينا برجع للدفار موجود معنا هنا في داخل الاستوديو عشان تجاوب على سؤالات تكون كل واحد وهاية يلا بدأ توالي نحن بيجيبوا الموضوع ده لنهايته. For now let's go out for a short break and we'll be back.
MSF France is launching a call for expression of interest to construction companies in provision of construction work in Awil State Hospital, Northern Bargazal. The construction work includes construction of pharmacy and logistic warehouse, estimated usable surface of about 1,780 meters squared. Construction of a training and office building, estimated usable surface of about 60 meters squared. Construction of a generator room, estimated usable surface of about 110 meters squared. A complete numeric file with all the details can be withdrawn physically with a personal USB key from 17th July 2023 at Awil MSF France office, construction office located along Madiria Street, Macharkunyuk area, or Juba MSF France office, supply office located at Juba opposite Al Sabah Children Hospital. Both locations are open during working hours from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. from Monday to Friday. Documents can also be asked by email at msff-awil-cpc@paris.msf.org. Expression of interest documents should be submitted to MSF before 12 p.m. on 2nd August 2023.
All right, good evening to all of you once again, and let us get to the clarifications in regards to your questions. Alex from Juba here was asking to know in regards to the issue of the salaries of the people, and if the parliament that represents the people is actually representing the people.
Let me be particular about our friend, my colleague Alex, who actually have the first was the comment, the second was the question. In fact, if the national parliament, you know, the present parliament came to life through the agreement.
Yes.
You know, even when the agreement, this present agreement was negotiated in Addis Ababa, dissolving the assembly was a red line for the government. But yet, when they come to implement the agreement, it was thought that it should be the case for the assembly to be dissolved. And after the dissolution, we need again to be reconstituted according to the parties that to the agreement. Party exists to the agreement. So, in that sense, of course, the people to the agreement who were fighting and the government was taking care of the people. We believe that the people they appointed are appointed because they want to represent the nation, the people that exist. So the first comment, I think we are for the people. There is no reason that we exist. The second point was about the salaries, and also the second caller also confirmed the same. That the salaries is not yet up to now fast. People are not receiving the good salaries, and the salaries of June, which is very little, it is not yet also released. So somebody was saying, okay, what is happening?
No.
What is happening that the money is not paid? You know, let me make this general belief. In every year, if the whole chapter had to be closed because we are going for the new budget, there is a reason for salaries, which is chapter 1, has to continue. Now, they are not waiting for any budget. They must continue to receive the money that they receive every month. So the money which is not released up to now by the Minister of Finance, we are still languishing with the Minister of Finance to pay it. All of us are not paid. Whether we are paid small or big, we are not paid in the months of June. So we are still asking the Minister of Finance to, maybe because of the resources, is still languishing with that, and I think it will do it. So there is no way that people will not going to receive it.
No.
Now the second question, I think let me go to all of them,
yes,
because there is no time.
Yes.
The second question on the third caller,
yes,
was about corruption, and then also the problem of preparation of the budget.
John.
Now, John, let me tell you, corruption is something that is innate in human being, is unborn in human being. We are almost sometimes, some people say that we are corrupted from birth, which is not true. Corruption is learned. People learned corruption. Now, by the fact that people learn corruption, it depends on the same government of the day to prove its credibility by accounting people. Now, if the government do not account people who are very corrupt, and somebody was saying, why do you appoint people who are corrupt? You don't know them, they are corrupt. You only know them when they already exercise their own duties in the office, and then class. If you dismiss them, like, for example, before 2013, when some people were dismissed in the government because they are corrupt, what happened? It was immediately an accident of 2013. All those people who were been in the bush and now they are in the agreement, they were government officials, which was actually decided by His Excellency the President to remove them from power. That what happened? They went to bush. And so we have the agreement in 2015. So definitely, it is not easy to dismiss somebody and then keep quiet. Your house will be in the next morning at fire, like we did in 2013. 2013 was a corruption fight. Some were removing the government. They say, okay, if we are removing the government, we take guns. So I think some of you now are members of IO, they are members of what other parties, and these parties were fighting with us. They have signed the agreement, they have now joined the government. Simply because you remove somebody, he goes to bush. So it is a very delicate situation which does not, of course, if you don't dismiss somebody, how will the person who is not appointed come to the government? People come to the government like now I'm speaking here, tomorrow I will not be here, somebody else will be here. And I should not take gun because I will be removed. So, you know, my friend, let me inform you, John, it is not easy. It is not easy in South Sudan to remove somebody. When you remove somebody, you are in a
let us go to the making of the budget.
The budget, the preparation for the budget. Yes. Please let me inform you, and please tell who is next to you, if he is not listening to me. Budget are not prepared. The budget, all the budget that comes to the assembly is not prepared in the assembly. How people generate the budget? They do it from the boom level to Payam level to county level to state level to national level. And that is summed to be a budget of that year. Now, if the preparation is not done at that very grassroots level, you do it at the national level. This is why now John is quarreling me on the other side that he did not receive his salaries, the budget is not known to him, and so on. It is not me to educate you how the budget is made. Budget is made at the government institution level. Like, for example, the institution at the Payam level, they should make it to county. From county, it goes to state. From the state, it comes to the national. Now, when it becomes a national budget, we will pass it at the national level, and so that when it is passed at the national level, it will go back at the same route to be spent at that grassroots level. And that is why we call it a nation budget. Now, in our government, sometimes you get that some few people sit down and they prepare the budget which is not felt by all. It is not prepared by all. And for that matter, the national legislature or the National Legislative Assembly, together with the Council of States, they sit waiting for the budget to come. Now, John, in your Payam, if your Payam administrator is quite green about what priorities should be existing in the Payam so that you receive the budget, what should you say? You will say that John Agany will go to the Payam to prepare the budget? The budget discipline must be taught to us how the budget is prepared. Now, if we are educated and we speak English, why don't we know how the budget is generated? People should know how the budget is generated. If you fail to know it, it is not John Agany's problem. It is yours.
We go to the last question from Alfred. Who talked about Al-Muduta, Martabat, and why?
Yes, I was just dropping to that. Yes. In fact, you know, the question of paying the salaries to civil servants, to organized forces, and to the army is a compulsory program for the government. Please let us get this clearly. Government cannot, by the way, it is a social contract between the government and the employee. Which in fact the government should not fail to do it, otherwise the government will be taken to court, because if you employ me, I should receive the salaries that you employ me with. And by the way, in some countries the rights of unemployment is actually put into hours. The hours that you spend in the work are the hours paid to you, but we did not still reach that station. What we do is 30 days. What is known to us is 30 days to be paid. So when you spend your 30 days, definitely the government is obliged to pay you after the end of every month. You are not supposed actually to go to the next month. Going to the next month is telling you that the government is failing its own obligation of paying the employee. And so for that matter, if you go to court, the government will language to you and you will win the court case. Why? Because you have been contracted and you demand the government money. Now what happened is that with our very good people, I know them, they are very good, because, you know, we fought the war without money. And so our government might be saying that, okay, if we were fighting long time ago and we were not paid, why don't we stay one for 2 months without salaries? Which is not true. We have to change. We are transition from a guerrilla to the government. Now, if we are a government, we should know our government obligations. And for that matter, John, we must pay you whether we like it or not, you must be paid. Now, the question of increasing the salaries. Now, the problem is, let me divide it into two. The civil problem is that in our payment role, in our payroll, and remember, I'm also a civil servant. I was been a civil servant for almost 32 years as a teacher. Now, that one, you know, in our payrolls, we have the so-called ghost names, which inflated our salaries. That is one big problem. Another problem also, the same problem which is with us in the civil servant is also in the army. Remember also I was a soldier. So from there also now, as we exist in the army, what happened is that the payroll has been inflated by the generals, by the people concerned with that money. The people who are, let me not call the general, they are people who are responsible for the payroll. They receive the ghost name from their bosses. The boss say, okay, they register all their children, their wives, whoever who is linked to them. They now put it in the payroll. They give them even ranks, and the government pay them. Now this has become complicated. The army that exists today, if you go to the payroll, you will not buy exactly the men who are standing in uniform are not the men who have been paid in our budget. We know this. There are ghost names everywhere. Now, if we want to receive good money, please let us be responsible to remove those ghost names.
And who should be, tasked to remove the ghost
Of course, for the civil, there are civil people to do it. For the army, there are, you know, army has been led by CNC. That is the commander-in-chief. Under the commander-in-chief, there are commanders who are leading or are taking this. They receive the command from the general, the least general, the highest general, up to the president. Because president is also the commander-in-chief of the army. Now organization has to be done within the army. The civil servant will not come here to organize the army. So our problem is our little money that we have is wasted. It is paid randomly. It is paid without responsibility. And even the army that we pay today is not the army that exists. Somebody will tell you it is a battalion. And you know the battalion, we know it consists of how many men and women. Now when you come to pay them, you even run short of some names got lost. Somebody will tell you that, well, your name has got lost. And you are in uniform and always you are counted every morning. So how can your name got lost? Your name got lost because of the ghost names.
All right. Thank you so much, Honorable John Agany. Remember, you also asked on the question of there are a lot of, this is actually what I asked earlier on. There are numerous income generating activities, but the government focuses so much on the oil money. Getting to inquire, where does the money for murder, talk about the non-oil revenues. Where does the money go to?
I thought you were listening when I answered this. And I again repeat. You know, you cannot collect much money without injecting into those institutions. The little money that is mobilized, like for example NCA, which I am direct responsible. Now in a matter of 1 month, somebody will report to me that we have mobilized this month something like 4 billion a month. Now if the 4 billion has to come every month to NCA, and then NCA render it to NRA, and of course from NRA it should see it lie to the Minister of Finance. It should be remitted to the Minister of Finance. Now if that collection is wisely used, is wisely collected, and it is wisely kept, you will not talk of insecurity of having no money. By the way, having no money is an insecurity by itself. So definitely people need to pay attention to the collection by injecting into institution that collects money so that you generate more money. But now imagine if money is not injected in NCA so that NCA can generate more money. How will you get money? The little money that is collected by hungry money person. And you don't believe that if the hungry person gets money, he will bring it to you in totality. No. It will get into pocket, it will get into pocket, it will get into pocket, into hand, at the end, you get insufficient. So the government should responsibly create a situation whereby this collection must be processed responsibly through our devices. So in some country, you will never catch a physical money. You will go to a certain bank, you pay there, you only bring me a receipt. Then I will catch receipt down into my diary. There I will report on the monthly basis the record that I have kept, and this will give me only the figure. It will not give me the physical money. The physical money is in the certain bank. So if you want money, please you write your check and you get it there. Now with us, it is not the case. Some money is collected by hand, manually. Like you are asked to calculate 1 + 1 is 2, and then you count 2 + 1. Now if you have a physical money, and then you tell me that this physical money will go into many hands, and then at the end the government get it, no, you are a liar. It will never get there. So the only thing is that the government should create devices. This is the layman language, and then the people of
okay, all right, thank you so much. All right, just before we wind up this conversation, some comments through the live streaming. Ayela Mo piercing, watching you, Honorable, from Kiangwali refugee camp in Uganda. The point you made about civil servant salary arrears is really sweet. I'm enjoying every bit of your responses to the questions raised. How wish all can be implemented the way you are explaining it. And another person is actually Moses Mayor Bagol Kojo is saying, my question is, why is it that MPs don't complain about the salary of civil servants and they are always demanding their payment? And I think the questions have so far been answered. And to all those who so far raised comments and questions, thank you so much. And we have so far come to the end of this conversation. And maybe, in 30 seconds time, if at all you have any last message to the public, and or the upcoming resumption of the talks or the discussions on the budget in Parliament.
Yeah, thank you very much. I will actually, by the way, let me remind our people that I'm the servant of the people. I have nowhere that I can generate my my responsible position. I create it through people. So I must be loyal to my people. My message is, please, my people, this year the salaries of our servants and also the organized forces and the army is going to be quite different. It will be unlike last year. You will receive different salaries. Please take it from me, because we are working on it. I don't want to tell you how much, but I know that the difference will be great. That is one. Another thing which I would like to say is that, please, the budget is not yet concluded. Don't be restless. Just wait. Within some few days, we are going to finish the budget, and the message will be again here to announce to you that we have reached this conclusion for at least this year, and then the next year we will supplement what we did this year. So let me ask God to bless all of you, and please keep your sincerity. I also try to be sincere to you, and also keep your sincerity, because God is there guiding our
Thank
steps.
you so much, Honorable John Agany, for joining us this evening once again on the Week in Parliament segment on the Sundown. To all our dear listeners, let's catch up on the second half of the show, and I will have more stories that are currently in South Sudan's context. We'll have John Agany again Friday next week. For all questions, please do reserve them, and we'll be able to catch up with that. Thank you so much for being part of this.